Hello and welcome to Talking Points. This is your favourite chat show as we talk all things Spurs. I am Spurs for life, and today we are talking about our almost pretty close Fabrizio Romano. Here we go, touching distance signing Cristiano Romero from Atalanta, our new central defender. And I am joined in the house, Mike-Hotspur Hustler, Darius 3K, Marlon Bashman, MisterK, welcome back, and Stuart Gallop. Gentlemen, how are we today? How's everybody doing?
Well, we all turned up, so that's more than some people can say, isn't it? But apart from that, doing good, aren't we? Doing good.
Get it in early. Get it in early.
I had to get it in early. I'm not going to do it anymore. I promise.
Get them in early. Get them in early. Before we actually start the show, to those watching who are new, please hit that subscribe button. Get all the info you need with regards to Paxton Road TV. If you're watching, hit that like button. Just smash that like button. It helps the channel out tremendously. Gets you to know about when our shows are going to be coming on. We've got plenty of stuff coming up for the season, so make sure you smash that like button. And now let's get into it. Let's do this thing. So, as of early today, I don't know if anybody's got their phone by them, just in case it does get the old shirt hanging up, whatever. We might not get a shirt picture, but we might get something. And I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to start with the Hustler. How does Cristiano, I was going to say Cristiano Ronaldo then. Cristian Romero. How does Cristian Romero possibly get Spurs top four as a new signing? Off you go.
This is a good question. So him on his own, I'm going to be honest here, him on his own doesn't get us top four. We are still, I think we're about 3 players away from actually, I think, putting ourselves into a very good position to fight for top four, or at least compete for top four, should I say. Romero himself, though, I haven't seen him play in Serie A. What I have seen of him has been in Europe, and I saw him. I think I saw him play twice in Copa. I really like him. He's young. Obviously, he's only 23. He's quick. He's a typical Argentinian defender, so he's aggressive, which I like. And I think Darius mentioned it in the stream, and I think when you show up his stats, it proves that he is a defender that likes to intercept quite a lot. Which in the Premier League, that if he's aggressive and he's an interceptor, there's 2 ways this can go. Either he reads it, and this is what it will need to happen. He will need to be able to read the game really well in order to be successful in intercepting passes, etc. In the Premier League. Now, if he gets it wrong, then it's one of those you're going to have to learn quite quickly. Otherwise, it's going to be quite costly. But himself, like Romero, as a defender, though, he's good in the air. He's great at set pieces, and the difference between him and Toby is, from what I've seen of him, he likes to bring the ball out, and he can beat a player, which is unheard of for Tottenham centre backs. So he's got that in his armory, which might be able to drive the team further forward, push that back line up higher up the pitch. Which from last season, we would just seem to be sat on that 18-yard box, i.e. the back line was seen on that 18-yard box too much, which obviously put too much pressure on us as a team. But if he can drive that back line forward, and if they all push up as a unit, then I think we've got a good player on our hands. The only thing I don't think he has, which Toby had, was he hasn't got that ability. Well, I haven't seen it in his locker that he's got a 40-50 yard ping over the top for Son, Kane, whoever it might be, to latch onto. But that having said that, it doesn't mean to say he hasn't got in his locker. I just haven't seen that in him. But I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It might just stop all those long balls that we've been used to from Toby. So yeah, I'm happy that he's signing, or I don't know if it's been confirmed. He hasn't held the shirt up yet, so there's always that sort of I don't know, hesitant factor with Tottenham. But
bit like VAR, right?
Exactly that, Mr. K. But no, I'm very happy with this. I think it's all but done, as in concluded. So yeah, can't wait for him to be in that Tottenham shirt and see what happens.
I can't wait for him to be there. I'm going to come around to all of you to get your opening gambits as well. I'm going to slightly disagree. I think there's a potential that him on his own could get us top 4 contention. What I mean by that is, if you look at the likes of somebody, I guess if you look at Van Dijk, is it Virgil van Dijk for Liverpool? Who else came in at Manchester City and made an instant impact?
Diaz.
Diaz, that's the one. So you're looking at players,
Walker.
the way he's been... the way you're talking about players is that they are the piece in the jigsaw that's going to make the massive difference. And what also we get with these type of players is the other players around them, particularly the defenders, maybe playing 5 or 10% better than they have been before. So the likes of Rodon, potentially even the likes of Dyer. We've mentioned about Sanchez if he's going to be there. I would hope that these players see this guy and think, oh my, he's a level above. We need to raise our games. Now we all know. I know what you're going to say.
I'm there. You're comparing our back line to Liverpool, Man City. That's our first mistake there. We've got to get at least another 2. I'd say another right back. Centre backs fine, left back fine, but I think
I'm going by last season in terms of how we lost our points and where we lost our points. That was down to concentration, lack of real defensive ability. When you're 3-0 up against West Ham, you should never draw that game with 10 minutes to go. A player like that would not allow that to happen. So that breeds that breeds the actual confidence that you have going forward. That would mean for me that the other players should at least raise their game. Now, whether they've still got mistakes in them, I probably think they have. But this guy here could be that extra bit of a nous that we need just to bring the others around. But saying that, brand new player from Argentina, who's going to need time to adapt. If he hits the ground running, fantastic. But I'm prepared to give him a few months at least, probably even the season, to see how he adapts. Darius, what's your thoughts? Can he get us top 4 this season?
Nah, I'm on the same boat as Mike. I think we need not even just a defensive upgrade. I think we still probably need another midfield and attacking upgrade before we can start talking about top 4. And I only say that because of the comparison to the teams around us and the teams that are actually going to be competing for top 4. It's just the levels that we're going to be competing with. It's going to be difficult, and we're going to need to see a lot of transfers coming in for me to really believe that top 4 is a chance. But domestic trophy, he gives us a great chance of winning a domestic trophy. I mean, like we said, that's a 7, 8, 9 game. 9 tournament sort of basis, or 9 game tournament sort of thing. So you can easily see an addition like Romero getting you Carabao, Conference League, FA Cup, whatever you want it, whatever you think. I can definitely see that. For me, in terms of him as a signing, there's a few reasons why I'm so happy about it. It's one, the fact that you would call him. I would call him an excellent to elite centre back, or he's going to be in that elite level if he carries on the way he's going. I mean, MVP in the Serie A, best defender in Serie A. I mean, and the fact that he wanted to join us as well it's so important. Like, he's been pushing. On Monday, we heard that he went to Gasparini, he went to the board, and he was pushing for this transfer. He was asking, begging them. He said, "This is the number 1 opportunity for me." So if somebody's saying that about Spurs, I can only, and the quality that he brings as well, you can only want him to be there and bring that around the team as well. So yeah, I just think it's everything we need. I think the interceptions that you mentioned, Mike, is going to be very, very key. But what I think what I don't think will be bad for him will be the fact that he's got Skip and Højbjerg in front of him. So he won't need to do as much work, I don't think. I think a lot of the interceptions they're going to come from those two first, and then he's going to be sweeping up whatever they don't get. So I think he's going to be comfortable enough in a situation where he'll be able to sort of comfortably work his way into this team and not really be thrown into the deep end as like he would be maybe under in a Jose team where he's got about 15, 20 shots against him a game. So I think that with Nuno's system, the way that we've played in pre-season, the players that we've got in front of him, the players that we hopefully sign around him, and also Galini as well, his ex-partner, I do think that the settling in period will be quite easy. And I hopefully, like you said, he does make that. I don't think he'll make an impact like Diaz did, but he will make an impact, a significant impact for us, especially knowing the centre-backs that we've had to deal with over the past 2 years. We're all going to see a massive, massive change in that defence. So that's all you can really ask for, isn't it? An upgrade on what you've got. So yeah, I'm all for it. And he's 23.
And 23, 60 million or whatever it is, around about the 55 mark. I'm expecting big things from this player. Marlon, I'm going to come to you. We haven't seen you for a little while. What's your thoughts? Top 4 potential?
Top 4. I don't know if we're pushing that. To be honest, I don't really know much about the player. The stats are very interesting and it's very positive. If I go off of YouTube, he's a great player, but I've seen quite a few YouTube players. I've seen quite a few YouTube players turn out to be horrendous. I think, as a Spurs fan, I think with me, this in general football, I think we need to give him a season or 2. I'm not going to put a lot of pressure on him.
I'm not sure about 2.
Yeah, no, I need to, man.
I'm giving him 2.
The Premier League's it's a different beast. So he's so fast. I don't know if he's going to be able to manage it just yet, but I won't say top 4 for now. I think we just need to be able to have a bit of a settling period with our team. It looked promising from pre-season, even though we've been playing a lot of the lower league teams. But I can see signs that it could be a good season for us. I am a bit upset with Kane, but anyway, that's another story.
That's another story. We're going to keep that story for another day. I know Stuart and Mr. K both want to come to you. And don't worry, Stuart, you'll be first on the next round of questions anyway. But Mr. K, welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you very much, guys. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. I had a little break, a little hiatus.
Yes,
I've come back at the right time. I came back at the right time. I came on a Sunday and everything looked absolutely fantastic. Sonny had signed. Way, finally. So I thought, you know what? I went to sleep Sunday night thinking, right, that's it. We got Sonny, we got Kane. No one can afford to buy Kane. Yeah, it's all good. Went to sleep, woke up. I want to forget Monday. Right. Because you know what happened on Monday? I was looking forward to Monday, seeing Romero maybe do like a physical or something like that, and he's going to be ushered in through the doors. Yeah, Monday, maybe for once, you know, the people that are giving like tips and all the rest of it and rumors that they might actually be right, but no, it's still got something to sign on something or check something, his height or something. The boy is, from what I understand, well, I've just been told that he's about 6 foot, so he's not the tallest defender in the world. But what he is he's got an eye for reading the game. Now, if you want to adapt to a new system, you need to have that type of mind that can learn quickly, and having the ability to read the game really helps you integrate into whatever type of system that you're going into. Okay, so it's a new environment and so forth. I personally believe that with the way that we are as a team, we're most likely going to stick to some tried and tested formulas for the league. But when it comes to the the great Champions, sorry, no, it's not Champions League. What's that European tiny trophy that we're going for? Oh, conference. That's it.
It is
Conference,
the UCL.
right.
The UCL, thank you very much. It's the UCL.
Right, the UCL Cup.
UCL.
The Conference League Cup. Then I think he might get trialed and tested out there first, and then come towards Christmas or maybe just before that, maybe Nuno might chuck him into some Premier League games, get him some exposure. Now I understand the boy can use his left foot and his right foot. Now if Nuno goes for a back 3, then he's going to be quite a nice boy to have left or right, swing him and make it adjustable and so on. Can we make top 4 with this guy? Well, technically speaking, if we are buying any player for over £50 million, 55, 60 million plus, you're looking at the potential players that will want to play in the Champions League year in, year out. Okay? So when you're buying players of that much money and that age, they're not 21, they're not 18, they're 23. So there's a level of maturity already there. They need to get acclimatized to the new environment to show their qualities, their technical qualities, their mental qualities. Now we're just going to find out how much of a heart does this boy have, because he's going to need quite a bit, especially coming to Tottenham. And also the Premier League, because they're going to come in and the strikers and the wingers and everything, they're going to start playing funny buggers around him, right? Grabbing him rather than him grabbing them. Can we make top 4? Yes, of course we can. We're going to beat Man City 4-1 first day. Trust me, it's going to happen. Right?
I didn't need it to go off that much, Mr. K, but I like that.
We're doing top 4 this season. Mark, you heard it here first. Top 4. Jesus. It doesn't matter what players we've got. So forget about the last 24 hours. I believe that Tottenham...
going to add this little bit of a caveat. The views of the panel do not necessarily represent all of the channel. God damn, Mr. K, you're going to kill us tonight.
Stuart, I'm an optimist.
No, that's good. I like that. Stuart, I'm going to come to you. Top 4?
Like Mike said, it helps get us on the way to being able to compete, which we didn't look anywhere close to that at the end of last season. So the big thing for me is the fact we've actually we haven't got the whole official confirmation from the club, but it's looking pretty much done. And it's just showing this is the difference that Paratici is making in the fact that, this was a really complex, really sort of long-winded deal that has cost us a decent amount of money. And he's actually delivered it. Whereas I think if this was just Hitchin on his own or without Paratici there, I think we would have just left. We would have walked away from it. I think it would have just sort of petered out. So the fact that we're setting a tone now within the club that we can do these kind of deals, and he's a quality player that other clubs will probably want or might want once he's been with us for a bit, as usual. It seems like it's a great move, and we need a proper leader, a proper defender at the back. And while we had Jan and Toby for all those years and they did well, that's what we've been really lacking at the moment. We've got guys who are big and they get stuck in, but they don't seem to really love defending, and this guy does. So that's what I'm excited about. He loves
a yellow card.
He loves. But
no. Roden loves to defend
as long as he
doesn't.
Doesn't get sent off, that's all right with me. I don't mind that, and as long as he's stopping goals, I don't care what he does. So I'm excited, but we definitely need a few more elements around him in the back four in general, or back five, whatever it is. But it's good that we've got it pretty much there.
Cool. I'm going to show you some stats now. Barbados MUFC, thank you for watching. I'm going to read your comment out. The player doesn't set the price tag. The club does. Romero is 55 mil, just means he's closer to the starting 11 versus a player who costs less, say 5.5 million, which has got some truth to it as well. Another comment here from Chris. MisterK, my mate. You got mates back with you. Chris again. Big up, panel. Good evening. Right, let's get some of these. What should I show it? Should I show it via this? No, I'm going to show it in the normal way I normally do. Okay, so let me get the comment off so that we can just make sure everything's seen. This is overall career summary, not including his appearances for Argentina, which he has 5 of. So started off in the Argentine Premier Division, 19 appearances, should I say, in total for Belgrano. Then moved to Genoa, 27 appearances for them, 2 goals. Again on loan, that was when he was bought by Juventus, and then back on loan to Atalanta, where he's made 42 appearances, 3 goals. So he's got a few goals coming up. Looks like he's beginning to score, not massive amounts. We don't really need to see him in double figures. But I'll come on to the next part. This is for me now where we can do a little bit more of a comparison. So Stuart, as you went last, you're going to be able to talk about this first. Summary. So I put done a little bit of comparison here for the overall summary in comparison to Toby in the Premier League. Now we all know that the 2 leagues are different, but he did get Player of the Year or Defender of the Year. What was it? Player of the Year? I can't remember. It was either one of the two. Defender of the Year.
Serie A Defender of the Year, I think it was.
Serie A Defender of the Year. Thank you very much, Darius. So minutes wise, quite comparable in terms of the appearances and stuff. Goals, again, neither here nor there. 2 assists though, which I'm liking.
Yeah.
I do like that fact. The yellow cards for me though. What's your thoughts on? Does that tell you anything about the player's aggression? What's your thoughts?
It's a typical Argentine.
Yeah, he's doing enough in those interactions to get stuck in that it's drawing. It's causing a foul, but I think a lot of this is like, where's he doing it? Because if he's giving away,
not getting stuck in. That's called kicking out. Yellow card. That's Cantona, bro. That's Cantona.
He's an Argentinian defender, isn't he? So he's not going to mess about. He's not going to mess about. If you're there to go up in the air, he's probably going to put you up in the air. So that's probably the
The big stat that calls out to me is the aerials one, because that's where we were really suspect last season, where we were conceding goals from set pieces and we were really weak at losing the ball off corners and free kicks and stuff like that. So if we got someone there who is really going to get stuck in and win those duels, then that's really good. So he's obviously a fit guy, and he's playing a lot of money. He's playing a lot of minutes, which is awesome as well. And he's very good at taking the ball out and passing it out and not losing it. So there's a lot of stuff that I'd love to see some of the stats versus Sanchez or Dyer or something like that, because they're the more interesting ones because they're still at the club. But
Exactly. Now let me see if I can just.
Doesn't look like an upgrade. That's the thing for me. And he's still learning his game. He's only 23, so to be playing that much football at that age in a tough league. I mean, Serie A is not an easy league. It's not. Yeah. It's not like the Bundes. It's not like League One or something like that. He's playing in a tough league, and last season in particular was a very competitive season in Serie A for quite a long time. So, it's all pointing in the right direction for me.
Okay, good. Marlon, sorry,
yes.
I'm on the wrong stat here. So I apologise for that. That's me. There we go. Back onto this one. Do you like what you see I was very impressed. I've watched a couple of YouTube moments, like maybe what have you done, and he looks like a player. What I did notice about him, he loves a slide. He loves to slide across the pitch. I see quite a few of them where he's on, sliding, making an interception, which could be a good thing if he's timing it right. We all know that could be a bad thing if you don't get the time right, particularly inside the box. Is he well, I know in comparison to Toby, looks like he's more of an aggressive player. But is there anything in there that really stands out to you apart from the aerials Jules one? The yellow cards. What's your thoughts on that?
It's a semi-concern, but then as a defender, you have to be a bit aggressive in it. So to me, it doesn't really faze me. How many red cards are there? Wait. There's none. He should be all right. He just has to work on his. He just needs to work on his time in the Premiership. As I said, you're going into another league, so it's always going to be tricky. I just think, as I said, I think he needs to be eased in. But at that price, you can't really be eased in, can you? So you just have to take the risk with him, and hopefully if he does make one or two mistakes, we just need to be prepared as fans to just give him a bit of time, because our defense at the moment is a bit of a shambles. So anything's better than what we got. So I'm willing to give him a chance. 100%. Willing to give him a chance?
No,
I'm not going to put pressure on him straight away. No, you can't. He's coming from another league. I can't. It'll be unfair just to put pressure on him straight from another league.
We cannot be buying another player at 50 million plus and then hoping that they settle in, hoping that they do this. We had Lamela, who we bought for X amount of millions, who we kept for 8 years, who kind of lived up to something, but didn't quite. I'm going to put the next one on here in terms of the next stats I've got available. So just to see again. So the defensive stats, which is obviously as a defender we want to see. Darius, talk to me about the comparison here with Romero and Toby.
It's very, very telling. Like straight away, you could see. For me, the one that sticks out the most is the interceptions. The fouls and interceptions comes hand in hand for me. If you're going in for interceptions, if you're trying to intercept the ball, you're going to obviously increase your chances of fouling a player. So I don't really mind seeing the 2.3 fouls. I'm not too sure. I think if you give me a second, I had a stat on actually his success rate as well. Because obviously it's all good and well trying to intercept, but actually being successful in your interceptions, like we said, and actually tackling and transitioning the ball into attack quickly is what's important for me. If he's able to intercept the ball and then he can take the ball forward and transition into attack quickly, and you've got players like Son, Bergwijn, Lucas running on, it's a recipe for disaster. It does help with the attacks kind of significantly, but at the same time, you need to make sure that he can hold his own at the back, and I think he can. I really do believe that that interception stat is telling for how we're going to play football next season. I think that Nuno is going to push that lineup significantly further than what we saw last season, and he's going to want players like Højbjerg, players like Skip, because even if Romero goes in for an interception and misses, you've got players like Højbjerg and Skip, who Skip I think specializes in winning the ball back. I actually don't mind Romero kind of wandering into that midfield to try and win the ball back if you have players like Højbjerg and Skip covering that position. So for me,
it's all about disrupting play, isn't it? It's about disrupting the attack, and if he does that, and then like you say, you've got Højbjerg or Skip around him to mop up, then that's
it's covering tracks, isn't it? At the end of the day, if you've got a player, and this is why sometimes I sort of like to favour that three at the back, because that extra centre back allowed Romero, when he was playing for Atalanta, to be that aggressive. Normally the central centre back in a three would normally be the person who drops off and sort of shields, but in Atalanta it's completely different. They're man marking in their system, so he's the aggressor. He wants to go and win that ball back. So for me, if you're not going to play three at the back and you're going to play four, you have to have two sort of not defensive minded players, but you're going to have two players like Højbjerg, like Skip, to sort of cover for Romero, because I'm not sure Ndombele is going to do that. I'm not sure Lo Celso is going to do that. But then again, go on.
Sorry to touch it. The thing is, if you've got a centre back going in for an interception, I don't want to be seeing Højbjerg or Skip behind Romero. You've got to have 100%. Trust. you've got to have trust in your centre back that's partnering you to be able to be like, right, I'm going as the aggressor. I trust Rodon or whoever it is that's next to me.
I trust Rodon. That's the only centre back I trust out of the centre backs that we've got at the moment, which is why we keep saying we need to still probably go in for another centre back, regardless of this Romero deal going in. Because you're right in what you're saying. Obviously, I hear that you don't want a centre mid dropping into that centre back position.
Yeah. You can fill that with Cody, right?
Well, I'm not sure about that one, Mr. K. I think
like Connor Cody. I'm not going to have anybody say a bad word about Connor Cody. I like it.
But no, I just think that the interceptions and sort of the way that he's going to be aggressive in winning that ball back is going to be telling for how we play. We're definitely not going to be playing like Jose Mourinho. You don't sign a centre back like Romero and play a low block, low line sort of system. No, so I think it's telling of how we are going to play. I think we will see what we saw in pre-season, just with better players, and that can only be a good thing for me. So yeah, I'm all here for it, and the stats prove it. And he's 23 years old, so he can only get better.
Mike, do you think he goes straight?
Question: Are people thinking they're going to have?
Go on.
Sorry, go on.
Go on, Mark.
No, I was going to say, are people going with Skips and Holberg in the middle? Is that what people?
That's my starting. That's my starting midfield.
That's mine as well.
That's mine.
Okay. This one.
I don't know who's going to go in front. Mike, I just wanted to ask the question, because I think you mentioned it earlier about him bringing the ball into midfield, which he does quite a lot. I've seen him do that quite a lot. And I know it's an obvious thing, but do you think he goes straight into our first team? And the reason I say that is the Manchester City game is in less than 2 weeks' time, or just over, just under
11 days, I think it is. Yeah, 11 days.
Yeah, exactly. He's bound to come back. He might not have any sort of real pre-season with us, which he's not going to have, but he's obviously been playing, so he's going to need some time off, all the rest of that sort of stuff. Do you think that he'll go straight? And is he the sort of player that we're going to say, right, here you go, I'm just partnering with the best of the other bunch? What's your thoughts on that?
If I was Tottenham, I'd want him flown in tomorrow. And
which apparently he is.
If he's being flown in tomorrow,
he's flown in tomorrow.
So if he's being thrown in tomorrow, if he's got any element of fitness, I would expect to see him playing against Chelsea. We ain't messing about here. If he's fit,
Mike's on it. Tell him, Mike.
If he's
Mike's
fit,
on it.
I'm not having this. No, I'm not having none of this. If he's
Ben White played.
He's better than Ben White. If Romero's fit, he has to be playing in the two friendlies that we've got. I'd give him an hour in each game, and I'd be like, right, let's see what you can do. In a friendly, I don't care if he messes up in a friendly, or at least you get to see what he's potentially capable of. And then if he does well, he's going in against Man City, whether he likes it or not. You're getting thrown in the deep end, mate. Welcome to the Premier League. None of this pussyfooting about whereby, let's just delicately put him into the Tottenham in about a month, 2 months. Christmas time, no, mate. You're going in against Man City.
That guy feels like to me that's the sort of stuff he's up for. He wants that stuff.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like he messes about.
No, and this is the fit. Let's not forget it. He's Argentinian, so it's in his blood just to be like. He just wants to get in there. He's gonna be a typical Argentinian defender. He's gonna be a boss man. I've got a feeling about him.
He's a boss man like that.
Yeah, I honestly think I hope it's him and Rodon. If we don't sign another centre back, it's got to be him and Rodon.
It's going to be him and Dyer. Unfortunately, Mike, it's going to be him and Dyer. I want it to be him and Rodon. I 100% agree with you. But if we're being realistic, I put my realistic glasses on. It's him and Dyer, I think, against Man City.
Yeah, definitely 100%.
Unfortunately, we'll soon see when we play. If we got first at Chelsea,
and Arsenal
tomorrow. Then Arsenal.
That
Sunday
will tell us whether because Dyer's only played
100%.
one. He's played about 45 minutes in that first pre-season game.
It will
I
be
haven't seen
Dyer.
him.
If
it's Dyer,
that's the only thing. That's the only thing I can see in my head right now is Romero and Dyer making a mistake and him never playing again for the rest of the season. And I'm here for that. So,
Stuart, I'm going to ask Stuart, who do you think this signing affects the most in terms of that back line? Who is, I guess, under the most pressure that might not make any appearances? Because we talked about, they're talking about Yafat Tanganga going out on loan. They're talking about potentially, Sanchez going to Seville, and there's a couple of other teams. I think Dyer's staying. I don't think Dyer's going anywhere. I think Rodon is going to be the centre-back pairing, in my opinion. That's what it should be. But who do you think's under the most pressure?
I do think. Well, I think Sanchez is. I think he will go. I think there's enough talk, and he's obviously got enough value that they want to try and get rid of him this summer for that reason. I think it's Dyer. I mean, because Dyer isn't an actual centre back. We know he's been a calamity. He's already shown in the pre-season games with some of his positioning and in this constant thing that he does, where he allows the ball to go across him at the near post, which is catastrophic defending, right? And that is basic defending, or lack of defending. So I think he will immediately be under pressure because he will have genuinely good centre backs and other defensive guys around him putting that pressure on. It could be great for him because it could actually make him up his game. But that's what we want. We've wanted some of these guys to be under pressure to up their game. But like some of the guys have said, my ideal partnership, if we're playing a 4, is Romero and Rodon. I think Romero and Rodon, in terms of their mentality to the game and how they like to defend, are almost identical. They're very get stuck in, brute force, proper defenders. So I think, it's going to be Sanchez and Dyer who are going to be sweating tonight. And good, because they deserve it.
Damn
if they've done their job.
Damn straight.
Not their job, they wouldn't have to worry.
No sugarcoating that one. Good. Mr. K, who do you want to see him partnered with? If he's going to be first choice, Romero, who do you want to see him partnered with? Because I'm thinking, and I know what we talked about Dyer. I think he's going to be Dyer. If I'm honest with you, I think that's going to be the partnership we're going to see initially. The reason I say that is there's something about Dyer. He seems to, because he speaks Portuguese, he's done well with Jose. I think that sort of communication aspect, it might go down well with Nuno as well. And I think just because of their experience of him being in the club, we haven't seen Rodon at all pre-season. Whether we see him in the next couple of games, I don't know. So my thoughts are, I don't think it's Carter Vickers.
Right. So,
but who would you want to see him with?
Well, there's who would I like to see him with, and then there's what the reality of what our team really consists of and what they really can do with it. Number one, Dyer. There isn't much of a choice there. He's probably the most recognized figure that we've got in our defense, that the club recognizes, that the team recognizes. Agreed. To put in there. But in terms of the expertise, in terms of what we got caliber-wise, you got people like Sanchez, for example, which maybe for our team, he may be, bit of a calamity situation sometimes. But in terms of when he's not playing for us, as in internationally, he actually plays quite a decent game. Mm-hmm. So has he got the experience, the age, and so forth? So I think basically if you're looking at a 3 in the back, you got a Romero that can use either foot. Brilliant. Chuck him on the left-hand side, right? So you need someone to go in the center. Most likely that's going to end up being Dyer. Then you got somebody on the right-hand side. So if I don't think Rodon will play on the right, it'll most likely be Sanchez, right? So then you'll end up with the 2 forwards in the middle. Now, that's one way to look at it. The other way is to say, well, what's the personality? If you look at some of the stats that you did earlier, which, I didn't get a chance to comment on, unfortunately. Thanks for missing me out.
Back up for you. Don't worry about it.
Please, if you can, I want to highlight something which I think maybe may have got a little bit missed from there.
Keep talking. You just wait there. Just wait there.
So one of the things which I noticed in the stats was man of the match twice, assist twice, and goals. Now, what that tells me is that basically when you've got yourself a team like Atlanta, which is possibly being attacked, then the heroics of a defender that turns up at the right times, the ability to read the game, to make those interceptions, to create those fouls, to stop play, to take it for the team, then this guy is a real game player. If the chips are down, you can rely upon this man to step forward with his man of the matches. Right, there was another stat which he had him at 2 man of the matches and Toby at 0. I don't know which one it was.
Correct in that one.
Right.
And
okay. Right, there we go. Now, if you look at this one over here, very, very carefully, right, you'll notice that the trend is basically the type of man of the matches. When we were playing last season, our attacking prowess, our forward players were getting man of the matches, right? It's because we were attacking the other teams. Whereas I think with him, more of a case of he was rescuing his team. Also with the 2 assists, which means that basically set plays, he's an integral part of set plays for the team, i.e. corners and so on. So he's only 6 foot, but his headers are pretty good. His aerial wins are excellent, which means that he really is the type of go-to guy when it comes to set plays. And also with the man of the matches, the yellow cards, the aggressive level, being South American, I believe that we need something like this in our team. We need the type of like the Manchester United player, the Fernando type player, who's really going to come into the team and start being a character, and actually taking responsibility when you're on the pitch. Now, if you got a character that can take responsibility on the pitch, then the player that he plays against, the other players are going to like him because they know they can rely upon him, that he will put it in, that he will put a foot in, that he will cover them, they will back them up.
Mr. K, do you not think Højbjerg does that? Do you not think Højbjerg does that?
No, Højbjerg's a midfield player. We're talking defenders
you talk
here.
about the back.
Yeah, we're talking about defenders here. So in our defense, one of the things that we know is the reason why our midfield player was having such a terrible time was because they were having to cover the defense, because the defense wasn't able, they were ball watching half the time. Whereas this guy, with the interceptics that you see there, means that this guy is not ball watching. He's dynamic. He's anticipating. He will move as the ball is moving. He'll track it as he's doing it. Now, he'll take a little while to get the pace of the Premier League into his legs. All right, especially like, the 80th minute, 85th minute, you want his brain to still be alive at that time and not to be overawed. He's 6 foot, which means he's not a big clumbering man, which means that he can handle the quick strikers that like to spin on the spot and so forth. So I genuinely believe that this type of guy can help our team if he plays with the right partnership. Someone, I believe, someone like Dyer, for example, and someone like Sanchez, a 3-man back team, then I believe that we can start to nail and hammer on that 5th and 4th position. That's why I get my 5th and 4th.
Dyer and Sanchez, Mr. K, do you mean just as sort of like an intermediate solution until we get other players in, or you're not saying that you'd see that? I have to
go with what I see currently that we have, because my experience with Levy, okay. Right? Yeah, my experience with Levy is that he'll always leave us hanging on what we actually would like. So
we've got the best defender that we wanted. That's the change, isn't it? We've not dropped that deal, and we've not gone for someone else. We've gone for the top target that Paratici wanted.
And that's Paratici.
Right, that's Paratici. Now, here's my take on it, which is basically
that's why he's in
we've
the
got
club.
a Premier
That's
League.
Why we brought him in, right?
No, look. One thing though, we've got the Premier League, and the position that we're currently in is quite poor. So therefore, we want to bounce back. If we want to bounce back, we need that defense solid now, not next year. Yeah. We want it solid now. So I look at it and I think to myself, why have we not brought in experienced talent from within the Premier League? Why have we not brought someone else who's got Premier League experience?
I'm going to just come in there again. I'm not to say our defense doesn't require a change. Of course it does. But if you go through the actual games where we lost, it wasn't just down to the fact of we got the goals. There was some lapses in concentration, and we also played in a certain way, which meant the defense was under pressure a lot more than it should have been. Jose played that counter-attacking game. Your defense is playing from deep. They're going to be under more pressure. What I've seen in pre-season so far, we're playing on the front foot, which means we shouldn't have as much pressure on the defense. Now, what I hope we have with this guy is concentration levels. They're like a keeper. Keeper doesn't do anything for 89 minutes, 90th minute, shot comes in. I want him to save it. I don't want to say, I've not been concentrating for 89 minutes. I've let a goal in. That's where you've got to see how good a player he is. My concern is, and I'm going to ask Marlon, how long do we give him to adapt? How long do you give this guy in terms of an adapting to the Premier League? Because the aggression side of things is where he might come unstuck a little bit. If you're going to be that aggressive, you are going to pick up yellow cards. You're potentially going to get yourself more yellow cards than you need, and then potentially red cards. What do you think? How long do you give him, Marlon?
I said 2 seasons.
2 seasons?
You know what? I'll give him a season. You know what? Our defense is a shambles. We need to sort out right back. Because if Aurier is playing, I don't think I'm watching Spurs. I can't stand that guy. And I think we are going to play with Dyer. He's another mistake happening. But I think with Dyer, and you're going to kill me, you lot. At least he can find a pass, though. He's one of our passing midfielders, and he can
find a pass 5 yards.
No, he can ping a pass.
He can
do the ping as well. Yeah, we've seen him do pings.
He just can't defend his near post.
Carry on talking. I'm going to put this up. This doesn't really mean too much, but it's just the attacking stats, just to show, what I mean, in terms of shots per game, which I don't expect them to have loads of shots. So, again, very comparable, but not something that we really should be hanging our hat on. The last one being the passing stats, though. Again, if you look at the long balls per game, Toby was playing, as I think it was either Mike or Stuart mentioned that about the long passing. We're probably going to see a little bit less of that. You know, Toby
We're not
was
going to play
announced.
that way. We're not going to play that way.
It can come from Skip though, can't it? Do you not think it can come from Skip?
Yeah.
Guys, if you look at the 4-3-4 right, yeah, or the 4-3-1-2, whichever version of the 4-3-4 you play, there is an
hold on,
the way the defense handles the ball. The 3-4-3. Sorry, do beg your pardon. 3-4-3. The way that I've seen a lot of the systems work is that the defense moves the ball left and right, and everything else swings around. And eventually, some opening loosens up, and they try it and they swing it and so forth, right? Yeah, or they might hook it from the left to the right. It depends how they're doing it. But the thing is, you have to be comfortable on the ball. Number one. Secondly, you have to be able to read the game, and thirdly, your passing has to be bloody spot on. So that 86.2%. No, well, there you go. But the 86% tells me, and with the long balls, tells me that this guy is going to be taking that type of system on, where he's going to be part of the teams that pass the ball around, and that's what you want them to do in the back. Last season, every time we did that, I felt uncomfortable. I looked at Sanchez; he didn't have a clue what he was doing. I looked at Dyer, and the only way Dyer was getting away with it was because he had a long pass, and he was getting himself out of trouble for that way. But other than that, I don't want to ever be in a situation like we were last season where passing the ball around and we're turning it over there and they're scoring a goal. Or Lloris is pulling us out.
I can't see
who is going to be our right back? Yeah, I don't think so.
Sorry, go on, Mike. What was you saying?
It's just we've mentioned three at the back quite a bit, but I can't. We would have been playing that at the beginning of the pre-season if we were going to be doing that. Right. We might revert to it during the game if the situation causes for us to play, for three at the back. But he's been playing four at the back all pre-season. I can't see him changing it around now. It's I just can't see it. I think he would have done it from the start. If we were going to play three at the back, you would have seen it right at the beginning. Even though the big boys aren't sort of back from or weren't back from pre-season or whatever from their but
the last time you played a four at the back was when?
Yeah, but we're in a different manager now, aren't we?
No, I'm saying Nuno played a four in the back. I'm saying Nuno played last time he played four in the back on a regular basis wasn't at Wolves.
Was Valencia?
No, Valencia. That's right.
Valencia. So it doesn't matter, does it?
He's played four at the back.
When I say it doesn't matter, what I'm saying is that his proven track record recently has been with Wolves, where they've had to defend sometimes quite heavily, right, and basically try to do the counter quite successfully, which is very similar to the way Jose used to play.
But if you've seen it been play in a certain way, and that's what we're seeing is that the back four allows you to have another player in the midfield.
That's true.
Which gives you everything. Everything is on the front. The game plan that I've seen in the pre-season games is like we're trying to minimise the amount of time that the back four is actually getting under any real pressure. And then everything, as soon as we win the ball in midfield, you're winning the ball like in the sort of just as you're getting into the final third, and you're pushing up from there. I think if we play tomorrow with a back three and we play against Arsenal with a back three, then I'll probably start believing.
It depends if you're defending or it depends if you're defending or attacking. If you're going to attack a team, right, you're going to play four at the back. If you want to get out of trouble because you're under pressure, i.e. you're the one defending a little bit, you really want three in the back because it gives you more options to pass the ball out when you got four in front. That's the idea with the 3-4-3 is that you can get yourself out of trouble when you're being put under pressure. When you're the aggressor,
I go back to my point.
When you're the aggressor, you're going to have four at the back and have an extra man in the midfield.
Not necessarily. What you do when you play a three, you either lose a midfielder. So what you do, we're going to lose a midfielder because of that, right? So one less.
But Romero's like that, though, isn't he?
Hold on, I'm not finished yet. My point being, you can transition from a 4-3-3 into a 3-4-3 with your centre midfielder, both of which, if you play Højbjerg and or Skip, can easily drop into a back three. That gives you more flexibility to be able to transition into a four, and you don't lose the impetus by having an extra midfielder. If you go three at the back and you play, let's say it's Rodon, let's say it's Romero, and then let's say it's Ben Davies, you are going to lose a midfielder. So you can't play.
I disagree.
Ndombele. You can't. Well, how are you going to fit Ndombele?
You lose a midfielder. You lose a midfielder, but Romero or, for example, another player is going to
forget about him.
So what you're talking about solely of a midfield player? Where do you
put somebody like Ndombele?
Okay, so for example, Mason Mount. Okay, so I'll give you Thomas.
You're missing out. You're missing.
Mason Mount will play left wing and drift in, exactly how Lucas has been doing in this 4-3-3. There's ways of bringing in a midfield presence.
Hold that thought. Put Ndombele in one of them places. where then do you play Son? Where then do you play Lucas? Where then do you play Dele?
You lose the
Where then do you
midfielder.
play? You can't
You're
do
going,
it.
you're going
You
to
lose.
sacrifice. You're going to have to
have
sacrifice
to.
somebody. But at
And
the end of
our
the day, for
strength,
me,
our-
Ndombele's not starter. at
Pray
the
without a
moment.
striker.
Ndombele's not a starter at the moment, and Lo Celso's not come back yet at the moment. So
Okay. So where would you say our strengths were? As our strengths in defence?
not currently.
So why
So
would
you're
you
not going
play
to
more
play
defence?
through that. Yeah, is that your?
Does it
yeah,
make sense?
yeah.
What do you
play
mean
to
by
your
that? Though? What do you mean by
play to
that?
your-
Though?
So what you do
Strength
is you
is-
play to your strengths, but you have the ability to transition 4-3-3 with the players that we've got, Højbjerg, and we've seen Højbjerg do it many times. I've seen Skip drop into that back line and be able to play from that. If you split your centre backs, he drops in. It allows both your fullbacks to play as high as you want, and you still have the defensive solidity. You cannot do that if you play the extra defender because you don't have the extra player in midfield to allow you then to go into counter attacks. It doesn't work. You lose.
Maybe
you either
Romero is
lose-
playing a DM position
I don't
where
know.
he comes
I'd
forward.
like to
Where he
see.
comes forward
No.
to become the pivot. So basically, you have Sanchez and Dyer. They're dropping behind as a two-man team, but he comes slightly forward to fill that spot where Højbjerg used to be.
You could do, but then going forward,
Would you
you're
have?
still
Would
gonna
you?
have-
Would you
Sorry,
want
go
to
on.
have Dyer and Sanchez behind you?
Absolutely.
Oh,
not.
I bloody
no
wouldn't.
chance. Not a
Absolutely.
Man, I
chance.
didn't
No
want Wicks in the
chance.
final, but he was there. So we're not talking about what we'd wish sometimes. Sometimes it's just about reality of what they will do because that's the assets they've got. They've got to
So
make
that-
them
Yeah,
work.
but we've been
So then-
seeing what they're going to do in the pre-season games. It doesn't make sense to play all your pre-season in one
Yeah, no.
system
It don't make
and then
sense.
totally change it. So that's what that my base
Is
of
our
match
team-
evidence.
Is
He's
our
going
squad, is
forward.
our team
Match
really
evidence.
taking pre-season seriously? Considering
I think so.
we're transferring the players now. It took 71 days to get a manager. It's not like the pre-season means much right now. That's just a fitness level for them.
That potentially is, and what I would say that you have got some good points. We can. What I'm hoping is, in the games that we need to go to 3 at the back, we'll do so. I don't think it should be the go-to starting formation. For me, we have too many attacking players for that to be the go-to formation. I've not seen anything to suggest in pre-season that's what he's looking to, even with the players out. Because even if he was doing that, you'd still try and work that system in somehow. He ain't done that.
Yeah.
For him to now do this against Chelsea and Arsenal at this late stage means we don't know what we're doing. If in my opinion, if you just
You really think that?
well, 100%.
You did see it. If you look at the previous game, he did transition from
Yeah,
forward back.
60th
But
minute when
it was
Pascal
like,
came on.
but I know that was down to the fact that he brought on 6 or 7
Kids, yeah.
kids that came in. So
I can
I
see
think
I've
that
always said it's these 2 next games are the ones that I think give us the
Yes.
biggest indication.
Mhm.
But
Stuart's right. Stuart's
there's
right.
no way he's going to revert to back 3 this late stage of the season. It's just there's no way because you're talking about 10 days? Did you say, Darius? Until we've got
11
Man City?
14th of
11
August, I
days.
believe. I believe it's 11
There's no
days,
way
yeah.
you've got enough time to coach and drill those players into playing from playing 4 at the back to then turn it around to like, right, you're going 3 at the back.
I'm going to come to some comments
I
before I
will
come to
drag
some of you
Romero to
guys.
this level. Oh, God.
We've
I
got a
hope
few
not.
people watching. Just like to
No,
say
no.
thanks to Toxic Headshot for watching, Eddie, Ryan, shout out to you, shout out to Tommy Talks Ball, not Tommy Talks Balls, because Tommy doesn't
He
talk
talks ball.
He talks ball. Shout out to Sam Fisher, shout out again to Michael. Who else we got in the house? Super Sid, he's not on the panel today, but he should be. Welcome, Super Sid, Jacob Farrow, quite a lot of people watching. Again, if you're watching, hit that like button. Just go ahead, hit it. If everybody watching does that, we'll have loads of likes and you'll have loads more stuff coming out from us on a regular basis, which we're going to do anyway. Just come to this comment here from Derek. Swap Dyer for Connor Cody. Now, what's your thoughts on Connor?
Yeah.
Agreed.
I'd do that.
I'm down
They
for that.
wouldn't
I'm down
they
for
wouldn't
that.
take Dyer anyway.
Yeah, he's technically Portuguese, so I mean it'd work, wouldn't it?
Darius, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not a Connor Cody fan. So I'll be really quickly on this. I'm not a Connor Cody fan. I wouldn't want him if we're going to go outright and put money on him. But if we're going to swap him for Eric Dyer, I mean, you'd be silly not to. It'd be absolutely ridiculous not to. But then again, like if we were to get Connor Cody in, then we'd have to play 3 at the back because he's awful playing a 4 at the back. So if we bring Connor Cody in, you're expected to play 3 at the back. I don't care what you say. Romero and Connor Cody both have played 3 at the backs their entire careers. So if you bring Connor
Dyer's
Cody,
going to be
Romero,
ashes anyway.
I'd expect you. But that's obviously, I would never see a deal like that happening. But yeah, and that's just an example. I think
it's not going to happen. Dyer said he's promised to become ashes on that pitch anyway.
Dyer's not going anywhere. The sooner people accept the less angry you'll be when he makes a mistake on the pitch. Because I know he's going to be here forever.
I'm not having him on the pitch. I don't want to see him.
Mike, he's here forever. He's here forever. He's the boogeyman of Tottenham Hotspur.
I don't care if he's here forever, as long as I don't see him on the pitch. He's
got shares.
Well, we've got a Portuguese manager in. Dai is going to be able to speak his special language and get his
Why is he not been playing pre-season, like starting every game?
Softening him up. He's getting him nice. He's getting him. Don't worry. You don't want that Dai injured for that first. I'm telling you now. I don't want it. I don't want it. But I'm being realistic. Dai will play the start of this season, and until he makes a big mistake, he will be in that team.
Let me come to Stuart first on this comment here, and then we'll go around and answer a few people. So, Stuart, this one here, I know it's addressed to Mr. K, and Mr. K, you can address it as well. What happens if when Sanchez gets sold to Seville? Good evening, guys, by the way. Tomiyasu deal done according to some reports. So, Tomiyasu on the right. What's that going to mean for... Obviously, that's going to strengthen us. But do you see Tomiyasu as being almost the last piece of the defensive jigsaw? What's your thoughts on that, Stuart?
I think my hope is that we'll get Tomiyasu, and Tomiyasu will be not only the competition for Doherty on the right, because I fully expect Aurier to go. I bloody hope he goes. And he'll also potentially play as the left-sided centre-back, because that's where he's played for Bologna and Japan, in between those two positions. But I also see us getting another centre-back as well. That might be someone who's a bit of an easier target, like a Milenkovic, who's under 20 million because he's in the last year of his contract. I fully see that happening. So, if Sanchez goes, that's great, because it frees up another international player in the squad. Because that's the thing that we've got to keep mindful of, is that all of this stuff has got to balance out when we're sort of having to register for the tournaments and all that kind of stuff. So that would be quite interesting to see how that all plays out. But I don't think we're anywhere near done. I think now that the Romero deal is done, because I do think, while Paratici wasn't just being bogged down in that whole thing, I think he was working on other stuff. They can now fully work on everything else they want to do. So I'm thinking that this whole thing that Ali Gold was talking about, where he was talking about this flurry of activity, I think that's, that dam's now been broken, I think.
Marlon, are we done in the transfer market if we get, let's say, Romero done and Tomiyasu? Is that enough for you to warrant a good transfer?
I'm not even gonna lie, I don't even know about this Tomiyasu guy. Is he even good? Sorry.
Yes.
Mark my words, Marlon. Mark my words. I'll put him.
Darius loves him.
I absolutely love him. I absolutely love him.
I'm holding you responsible for 2 players we're buying in defence. If it goes wrong, it's all on you.
Honestly, if you like watching YouTube players, Marlon, go search the Tomiyasu clip.
Why is there no video clips of people messing up? That's what I want to see. I want to see videos.
That's not going to get their views. That's not going to.
You know what my thing is?
You'll get my view.
My thing is, if these players were really that good, why are the top clubs not coming in for them?
They tried to. Barcelona.
We are a top club.
Atalanta and Barcelona.
We're a top club.
Both in for it.
No, we are top, but we're top. But why? Real and Barca are broke. But why? You're United. United need a defender. I don't think Varane's going to be that good personally. Why
they've already dropped a ton of money?
Right. Look. Top end defenders right here, which are like 26, 27, 28, very top of their game right here. They're normally the last. Sort of like year or year and a half or something like that would occur in their contract, and then teams like Man City, for example, will come in and buy them for like 40 million, right? Unfortunately, for teams like us, for example, we have to go for someone slightly a little bit younger than that, hasn't quite matured into the full position to be playing top back, but we're going to take them there. And this is almost like the mindset of what we used to be some time ago when Modric and Bale used to be part of our team.
Yeah, take it
right. So we'll take the 21-year-olds.
What is wrong with that, by the way? What is wrong with that concept?
I'm not saying there's anything wrong. I'm just reminding that the type of player that will turn up to us will be the type of player that has wonderful potential. He's 21 to 23, bucket loads of potential. They're not. The top teams can't afford to take them straight away because they want people to be able to hit the ground running or do it in a very short time. So they need teams like Tottenham to take those players on, and that's the good thing about being Tottenham, is that those players will be willing to come to our team without extortionate wages. And this is where Levy comes in. So if the formula is right, we will get talented people. But if the formula is not right, we'll get Lamela and Dyer and Sanchez. Now, Tomiyasu, now the previous question. So, Sam, you were asking the previous question that was there, the one that was addressed to me. I just want to quickly just address that one. If you can pop that up, please, if you could.
Yeah,
right.
Tomiyasu.
Sanchez going to Seville.
Way gone. Is Tomiyasu? Was it?
Okay, so basically, the way I look at it is like this: is Tomiyasu a left-footed player?
He's both-footed.
He can play,
right? So if I think to myself, what I would like to see is basically someone like a Romero in the center of the defense, someone like a Rodon on the right-hand side, and someone like that can handle the left, like a Tomiyasu. That this could be the future, like the next 5 years plus.
I don't want to see
this could be our defense.
I want to see three at the back.
Maybe two at the back. Maybe switching to three, depending upon how it goes.
I want to see four at the back. I want to see our old game of pressing a high line, pressing that back line up to the halfway line. I want to see the pressing game, and I want to see us being more attacking than we have been since Mourinho. And if you look at the players that we've signed so far, they're all types of players that will make that press. Skip will go for the press. Romero goes for the press. Tomiyasu, I'm assuming he's, from what I've read, he's another one. I haven't seen him play, but I can only go based on what I've read. But again, he seems to have the same traits as what Romero and Skip has in terms of he's fit, he's young, and it looks like I'm assuming he's probably going to be that type of player that's going to be good at going for pressing. So I don't want to see us three at the back. It's just going to be invited. You know how if you go three at the back, you know we're going to go back to it's counter-attacking football.
But we forget.
I think three at the back is going to be a defensive five. I think it's going to be a defensive five.
When we play 3-4-2-1 with we play 3-4-2-1 with touch. Like I don't get this whole three at the back.
Most of that was played in Europe though, Darius, wasn't it? But how many times did you see Tottenham under Poch play three at the back in the Premier League? Most of that time was in European competition.
But the thing is, it's how you play it. That's what I'm saying. It's how you play it. You can have three defenders, but if you've got a player like Romero who's bringing that ball into the midfield, and you've got two fullbacks, where in my opinion, our fullbacks that we currently have specialise playing in the three at the back. For me, you can work your way around. You can still be attacking and play three at the back. You may sacrifice a midfielder. I understand that, and that for us might be bad because we have probably got a very strong midfield. Is probably one of our stronger areas, but I still think if the system and sort of the patterns of play that I've seen Nuno do, where players are taking one touch in that final third, if that is all in place, it doesn't matter about the formation for me.
So one thing, I'm just going to quickly bit on back because we are doing this three at the back thing, right? Okay, the team needs to be flexible. If a team knows how you play a 3-4-3, and you've got certain personnel, so let's say you got the three defenders and you got the two midfielders. Right, and you start at three at the back. If a team's good, they know you can only really create in the wide areas. They will just create in the midfield area. A team like City, who's going to have more possession than you, are going to create more in the midfield. If you've got three players at the back and you have two midfielders, it doesn't allow you to have that ability to control the game in the mid area. However, if you play with a 4-3-3 and you're fluid, you can play 3-4-3, but you can transition back to a 4-3-3 if the opposition are controlling the game. That's where the beauty comes in. If you suddenly just say, we're playing 3-4-3, and as I mentioned, the three players are at the back, Dyer, let's say Romero, and your left fullback, also your left centre-back is Davies. You can't tell me that Davies can then pop into midfield. I don't believe that Dyer would pop into midfield. I don't even think Romero is better in midfield than somebody like, not Sissoko, Skip or Højbjerg. That's what I'm saying. It gives you the ability to play those guys in their positions, but they can still do as good a job dropping into a backfield. That's all it does.
But you're only going to do that if you're playing certain teams in their own backyard. I.e., if you're playing Man City in their own backyard, 100%. If you're playing Man City in their own backyard, you probably will do that. If you're doing it the same with Liverpool, I maybe Man United.
All the big teams, all the teams that have been winning this league recently, they've had a system and they've stuck to that system regardless of who they're playing because they dominate the game. They use that system over that.
It's only Man City have won the league though. Well, Liverpool as well.
Liverpool did it.
Liverpool don't change their system. They did not
Liverpool
change
didn't
it.
budge at all. They don't care who they play. Leicester have been like that. You know, Chelsea switch a bit. But what I'm saying is that there's nothing wrong with being consistent in your tactics.
But you don't need to be playing that
if you're confident enough to play that way against other teams. But
you don't need to play that way. You don't need to play that way unless you're playing Man City. There's only two teams that I would say you would need to be that flexible if you're playing them in their own backyard. And I'm going to go Man City and Liverpool. Man United in our own backyard, I think we could play forward or back, play that high pressing game, and I think we could get a decent result against them. But yeah, if you're playing a top team, to be fair, Chelsea's the other one. I'd put into that category.
I'm scared of Chelsea as well.
But Leicester,
if they get a striker,
unless they sign some strikers,
exactly.
They get a striker.
Jose never played on
Warner's
the front.
A mess.
Jose brought our possession stats down to above 50 to most of the games below 50.
Definitely.
That tells me he wasn't looking to control games. If you're not looking to control games, you're at the mercy of the other team. If you're at the mercy of the other team by playing further back and playing deeper, what's going to happen? Your defense is going to be under more pressure, which means you concede goals. If you're on the front foot and you play to your strengths with the players you've got, it means, as we've seen, Lucas creating up top, getting the ball in the final third of the opposition, not our opposition and counter-attacking, win the ball higher up. That's why Dele looks a lot better than he does now, because he's not so deep. Definitely. When he's winning the ball, he's winning it higher up. He's got more opportunities to get a shot and goal. And that's our strength.
And that'd be the same with Ndombele. Play to his strengths, playing further forward. If the team's playing further forward, you're going to be playing to the strengths of more of our players than you are if you're playing from a counter-attacking sort of style of play.
If you're going onto the pitch with a negative mindset, if you go onto the pitch with a negative mindset and a negative game plan, that's never going to end well for you, is it? And I think that's where we got to with Mourinho. You could tell by the body language before the game had even started that the players weren't up for it. So
and he still
if you transition, they enjoy, totally changes.
If you can transition back, if it calls for transition and you can revert to free at the back, then great. Then if they've got that flexibility, then that's cool. But
100%. And I'm not saying that you cannot play a free. Sometimes you might need to do that depending on who you play. But usually, if you're setting that as your stall and everybody knows you're going to play that, good managers, good tacticians will work that out. They will just play centrally. 3-4.
I think I know what Spurs are going to do.
I know, but then if you go to a 3-5-2, again, you're going to sacrifice a wide player. So you're going to might be playing Son and Kane. Let's say Kane is going to be. Then it just
let's hope it's Kane.
Pigeonholing yourself.
To be honest,
I'm going to come
Sam,
to each. I'm going to come to each.
Guys,
go on, Marlon.
Sorry. I was saying, going back to what you said, would I be happy with our transfer? I think the only concern was that another central defender and a right back. But I think Spurs have actually got a good squad there, so I don't think there's really much to worry about. I just think it's defensively, and I think because they're being addressed now, we should be all right. Once they're addressed, I'm going with what Darius said. I'm going to hold you responsible.
Hold him.
If they hit the ground running, we'll be fine. We got a good squad there, and I've been impressed with pre-season. So I'm
going to come round to all of you now and get your closing thoughts. I'm going to start with you, Stuart, since you went last. You're going to be first. Your closing thoughts on the player himself coming in, Romero, and our obviously season coming up. What's your final thoughts?
Great signing. The one that's been dragging on for ages. A good sign of things to come with Pratachi, and his ability to get a complicated deal done for a good player at a price that is way sort of up in the higher reaches of what we usually pay. And hopefully this will be the first step of a really good, strong back line that we can actually get really settled this season. Because I think if we stop a few goals, keep the attack in the way we've been doing over the last few years, that's never been an issue for us, then we could be on to a winner. We'll see.
Great, Frank. Mr. K, your thoughts on Romero and our season to come?
I'm actually quite excited, to tell you the truth. I think our team underperformed last season. I think the quality was there. They underperformed. They should have finished much better. So I think with a few tweaking what's currently going on, with a different manager that can maybe coax a little bit more out of someone like Harry Winks, if he's not leaving. Look, we may not like certain players, but if they're going to be in the squad, they have to be used. They can't just be in a squad and just never get to play. We need them. So we need them to step up. So the way I look at it is I'm always optimistic. Man City 4-1, we're going to beat them. We're their bogey team.
He's got a point there, to be
I think
fair.
Romero is going to be, I think Romero, like Højbjerg last year, is going to be one of our most outstanding players from the squad in terms of his debut season. Go on.
Let's hope so.
I like all the last bit. The only bit I was kind of concerned is about this Man City. We're going to smash them. I really don't think we're going to smash them.
I'm going to that game, so I bloody hope so.
Make sure we're going to do that stream from there. So that match reaction, make sure you get...
I'm going as well.
You know, oh, good. So we've got a few of you. And Marlon, your final thoughts on Romero and the season to come?
I'm positive about the season. Hopefully, as I said, he hits the ground running and we just do well. I think it'll be all right, man, this season. I think it's, you know why? I just think Nuno, I've seen him a couple years within the Premiership, 3 years. His management skills good. I think that's all it relies on. You need to have good management skills with these players. They're too fickle. You can't go in too rough and try and, I don't know. You have to give them positive messages, and I think he's going to do that. Mourinho didn't do that. That's why it backfired. And even Dele, he's been looking all right.
Yes, Mourinho basically did this. He just went like this, put a cut through the squad, and then half of you lot go and do what you want. I don't really care about you. You lot are my mates, and that doesn't work. I think with Nuno, he's got more of a team spirit. He's got more people together. You can see that. Let's just hope we can get Harry back into the fold. Because I'm not one of these who's gonna. I know we haven't touched on Harry, but I'm not one of these who wants to boo Harry. Yeah, he's done what he's done. It was unwise, but let's get him back in. He's our top player. Come on now, we can't be ostracizing him from the squad. We need him. So let's just get him back into the fold. Darius, your thoughts on Romero in the season?
I can't lie. I didn't want to get excited, but after watching those preseason games and seeing us actually play attacking football, I know I'm just going to enjoy it. If that's how it is, if that's how we're going to be for the rest of the season, I know I'm going to actually just enjoy watching my team play again. And that's something that I was begging for last season. I just said the least I want from my team is to be able to, on a Saturday or Sunday, want to wake up and actually want to watch my team regardless of the result. And everybody says Leeds fans hate losing 3-0 and winning 3-0 if you don't know what's going to happen each week. But at the end of the day, they have loved watching their team. And when you get that love and when you get that relationship with the fans and the players and the club all harmonized, it's only going to be good and positive. And can I also say, this is the first time I've seen 100 plus concurrent viewers in a stream. So I want to say thank you everyone who's watching now. That's kind of crazy. 106 viewers. Yeah. So that's crazy. But yeah, no, honestly, this season, I think it's going to be a good one. I think it'll be a good one, but don't get too excited. I don't think.
Don't do that.
No, I don't.
You're Mr. K and say we're going to smash everybody.
No. Because when our rivals are buying Sanchos and Varans, and I'm seeing Greenish going to City and Lukaku being bidded for Chelsea, you got to be realistic in the situation. If we get top 6, that's a good achievement for me. And then you can work on, moving on next into the top 4's trophies. For me, it's a trophy. Get a trophy, and it's a good.
We're going to win the Europa Conference. We're going
to get a trophy. It doesn't even matter what trophy. Carabao, FA Cup, Conference League. A trophy will be a good season. So
I'm all about.
No, we trust.
That's all it is.
Hotspur Hustler. Final thoughts.
I'm glad that we've got Romero. I know it's still the fact that he's got to be holding that shirt to have it fully confirmed and over the line. But I think it's pretty much, as we said, it seems to be a done deal now. But I think he'll be a massive player for us defensively. In terms of how I see Tottenham sort of going forward for the rest of the season, I'm quietly positive. I think you can already see it in pre-season, the difference in our fitness levels. I know that the main players have got to come back yet, but those main players that are coming back, if they get to the same fitness levels as we've seen the lads that have been playing pre-season, and they hit that sort of level, I again, just from that on its own, you can see the difference from the Mourinho days to where we are now. And obviously, Nuno's a coach first and foremost. He's not a manager; he's a coach. So these players, you should see improvements in the team just from Nuno and his coaching methods. So I'm optimistic, and in the fact that we've gone back to the pressing game and the high pressing game. Because if you watch the last pre-season, I think most of our goals, if not all of them, came from making that back line make mistakes, and we capitalised on it and punished them. So I think we need. I still would like to see that Tomiyasu. I want to see that deal over the line. I'd like to see another centre back. I know Milinkovic has been mentioned. I think if we get a left back, a centre back, a right back, maybe a right winger, and if Harry
I think you still need a striker regardless, don't you think?
You lot are greedy. You lot are so greedy. I'm good with what. If
Come
we
on,
get
let's
this
just get
done,
Ings in there,
if we
mate.
get Tomiyasu,
Get Ings
I'm
in there.
good.
No.
Damsgaard, Vlahovic, give me them all.
Nah,
Give me
you
them
lot
all.
are greedy, man. So greedy.
Give me them
If
all.
we got, if we got who you just mentioned, Darius, I would be
I'm
like,
being serious, Mike. Honestly, sorry to interrupt you, but Fabrizio Romano said later this week there could be Damsgaard, a move for Damsgaard, and Vlahovic is serious. There's serious interest.
well,
They've
we
all
need
got
a
to be in the
striker, don't
squad,
forget.
though, guys. Those guys aren't going to be happy sitting on a bench. That's what you
Yeah,
got.
exactly.
Get rid of Winks, get rid of Sissoko, get these players out. They
Yeah,
have
but even
value.
if you got those players out, like the guy,
Yeah,
like you've got in Ndombele, Lo Celso, Son, Mora,
Well, if you don't want to
they
fight for your
can't all.
place,
But
Well,
I get
you're
that.
fighting
But what
on
I'm saying is that you've got to attract these people in,
Yeah.
and that's the problem. Is that when they're
Yeah.
the main men at Sampdoria and Fiorentina, and you're going, "Oh, come to Tottenham," where you might not play every week. That's the problem.
but you're
got,
fighting on
those
four.
signings.
You're fighting on 4 competitions, and you have.
Yeah.
If you take into consideration that Højbjerg played 50 odd games, was it last season? We don't want you playing 50 odd games. Go back to playing 25, 30 games.
It's not
rotate
lying.
it.
He's not lying.
He's going to take his place, though.
He's not lying.
But on a serious note, though, I think centre back, right winger, and a backup striker, and we're done.
and
Oh,
Damsgaard.
don't get
Say
started.
it. Give me
Don't get
Damsgaard.
started on the right winger, Mike.
Huh?
Don't get started on the right winger.
We've
Jesus.
got to keep Harry Kane as well, and he's
Bloody hell. You lot are greedy. I'm telling you what, you lot are. As Spurs fans, we are so bloody greedy. It's
Oh,
unbelievable.
the whole
Got more
Kane-
chance of
Kane
Dybala turning up.
changes the rest
If
of the
we
window,
right, hold on. Let me say my little bit. We signed up Son. We've got
It's
Son
not
signed up
realistic.
again. We got him signed up. So that's the most important player, apart from Harry Kane, that we could have got signed up. We're looking like, the manager's getting this harmony together. We've got Romero, looks like he's over the line. Tomiyasu potentially is going to be done. I'm good with that, gentlemen.
Nah, mate,
Are you
it's
not?
not-
Give me more. Give me more.
Oh my
If
God.
Winks and
Oh, you are
Flippin' Dyer and Sanchez and Ali can still get in this squad, there's room for improvement, in my opinion. That's
that's
my
good.
only.
And realistically, there's still time. There's still time to get at least 3 signings in, and I think that's
Telling you.
that's
Paratici is cooking. I am telling you, we are not done yet. I think we're going to get, if I'm going to put my neck out there, I think we'll get 2 more significant signings. I really do believe that.
Well, look
And
out
then
for
be
the
a couple
16-year-olds.
out.
And a couple
We've
out,
got-
obviously, a lot out the door, yeah.
That
We've got-
point that's been made in the last couple of comments is the interesting one, because this whole Koundé deal where Sevilla wanting straight cash out of Chelsea because they don't want Zuma, they're wanting 70 million out of Chelsea. Chelsea don't
Yeah,
want
we
to pay
don't
that.
have-
So that
we don't
deal,
have that money
deal's
anyway.
I don't think that deal's going to happen. So there is still that opportunity because we've already got that agreement with Sevilla for
But he
cash
doesn't want to
plus
come though, does he?
Sanchez. Mate, if he wants to move,
He said he wanted Champions League football. He wasn't
Yeah.
actually against the move. He wasn't
I don't
actually
want
against Spurs. He said he
it's,
technically
we'll
said
just
if Real
change
Madrid don't come in
champions
for
to
him.
conference and then
Yeah,
we'll sort it.
UCL. Just tell him
The
UCL.
Spurs, the Kane money.
The thing is,
you
though,
guys.
you've got Romero, who's he wants to play for Tottenham. He doesn't give a shit that Tottenham are not in some major
Yeah, that's a
European
good thing.
I
competition.
like that. I like that.
Koundé, he wants to play Champions League football. He doesn't want to play for Tottenham. So
He's
I personally
shown
wouldn't bother with him.
Yeah,
He's shown
he
his
showed his
cards.
hand.
Done what,
He's
he's done
shown
what
his
he's
hand
about.
already, so I don't want him.
100%.
I'm glad he's going
Nah.
Chelsea.
Yeah, let him go there.
Listen, I'm going to shout out to these viewers. Are superb. Like I said, 116, 115 people still watching at
Very
this time.
good.
More comments coming through.
Smash a like,
Fantastic.
everyone.
Please, everybody that's watching, hit the like, hit that like button. Don't smash it twice because you'll take the like off that you hit already. But smash that like button. Please do that now for us on this show. It'll be amazing. Thank you very much, all of you guys, for watching. I'll just try and get the last couple of comments up here. We got Tom out at the moment. We kick off. I support the team, but Nuno was effectively fired by Wolves after being heavily subsidised by Mendes. He had Neves and Jota in the Championship. FFS joke. That's what some people are saying. I'm giving Nuno his
Half
dues.
empty,
Yeah.
half full.
I'm
Depends
giving
how you
him
look
his
at it.
dues. Now we need another centre back, right back, Dumfries, centre back midfielder.
Oh, Dumfries. Oh,
Good shout.
Sabitzer.
It's a good shout.
Striker,
Sabitzer.
Ings or Vlahovic.
Sabitzer.
I think Sabitzer's going Bayern. I think he's going to join Nagelsmann at Bayern.
Oh,
unfortunately.
no.
Yeah.
I'm not
All
going
the
to be
good
funny,
players.
but
not bothered
you
about
are
Sabitzer.
greedy bastards. That's all I'm going to say to you lot. That's all I can say. I
We
thought
want
last
more.
week-
We want more. We want more.
All right, come on. Time.
Right, it is time. Mr. K, you are completely right. It is time. Let me just take this comment off. Guys, I'm going to say thank you to Mike-Hotspur Hustler, Darius 3K, Marlon Bashment in the house, Mr. K, Stuart Gallop. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been a magnificent pleasure, and it's time to leave. We'll
Come on,
see
you
you
Spurs.
again. Come on, you
Take care.
Spurs.
Take-